Hello and welcome to the 1990 series. This is Amanda O'Shea from the Serendipity Experience, and we have the lovely Sally Wyse, all the way from Solihull. Is that where you are tonight, Sally?
I am indeed.
Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being part of my 1990.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, so actually, you'll be probably quite familiar with the 90 in 90 kind of idea, because I got that from working in the recovery centre, hearing people when they were, when they were going off, people that use the fellowships, and they were recommended to go and do 90 meetings in 90 days.
90 days, yeah.
And I heard about that. And they don't have to do one meeting a day. They can do, 2 meetings one day and one another day. But the whole thing was to do 90 meetings in this 90-day period. And I remember thinking, that's quite a challenge. And they say that something like it takes 21 days to break a habit, but 90 days to change a lifetime, or change a habit for a lifetime. So I got curious with this, and somebody said the other day to me, oh, there's lots of things have 90 days, like lots of business strategies are for 90 days, but you talk about round the world in 90 days. And I was like, oh, I don't know really what the 90-day thing is. I just thought it was a bit of a challenge, and I thought I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do my own 90-90, which is have these 90 powerful little conversations with 90 fabulous people over 90 days. So thank you for being a fabulous person in my world.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure to have got to know you. We've had some funny conversations and some interesting times, and we've shared quite a lot of stories. And you were a big part actually for me, Sally, when I got very intrigued in the world of recovery, and a lot of that was started off from something I heard from you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and so you never know, do you, where things go and what gets us curious. And I tell you what it was. We met on one of Jack Pransky's trainings, and I can't even remember which one it was.
Well, it would have been the first one for me, which was probably 4 years ago.
Right. So it has, so it's been that kind of long. And I remember you telling this story about how when you were in your sort of drinking days, and you used to talk about how you had this realization, even being in whatever state you were in, that when you used to have the shakes, and when you used to sort of feel yourself in that way, when you used to go and collect a bottle of wine or collect a bottle of something, on the way back from the shop, you had noticed that you weren't shaking anymore. And you had an insight, what we would probably call an insight now, to even in wherever you would have been then, wherever your thinking was at then, to realize, oh my God, I haven't had a drop of alcohol past my lips yet. I'm not shaking.
Yeah, that was I didn't understand it at the time, but of course after studying the principles, I realized that it was thought that had got me to that point of shaking. And it was total fear and expectation of getting that alcohol. And once I got it in my hand, the shaking stopped because my thinking quietened down.
I mean, that really blew me away. And I remember I was on the radio at the time then, and I did I was like, can I interview you? And I did a program talking about wine and people in the local area drinking, and how easy it is for sort of expats that move to Spain that fall into unhealthy habits. And that was what I was sort of going down the line of. And then the whole me coming into the recovery world just kind of happened like a bit of a serendipitous, my house had the fire in the house, and got offered the job at the treatment centre, and after being friendly with them for a while. But you were one of the first people I brought into the treatment centre.
Yeah, I did a talk there with Jack.
Yeah, Jack Pransky, and you were like, that was way before I worked there. That was way before a house fire or anything. That was just so, and yeah, that must have been maybe 3 years ago or so. So
Yeah.
we've had this, and it was lovely. You came and stayed with me once, and we did a workshop at my house. And I remember having at lovely. We went for a walk on the beach with the dogs, and we bumped into some lady, and she ended up coming to the evening workshop. And all these lovely. There's always been all these lovely connections, all these lovely and sharing a house with you when we went to one of the London Three Principal conferences.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice to have you around. I'm always ever so excited when I see your name on the list and I'm going somewhere.
Oh.
You'll be with us soon, will you? You're coming out to Spain soon?
Oh, definitely. I'm coming to Jack's last training in Albia, and I'll be there for 2 weeks because I don't want to miss Fever either.
Oh,
So
great. Yes.
I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a week tomorrow. I'll come out. Can't wait.
Fantastic. So you've done a lot of Jack's trainings, haven't you, Sally? And
Yes, yeah, I've done everyone since I actually met him.
where did you meet him
Um,
then? Where did you, like, what was that?
I met him 4.5 years ago at a 2-day workshop he did in Birmingham. And I went along, and I remember it was £500, and at the time I was on benefits, and I thought, my gosh, £500 is a lot for 2 days. Not realizing the impact it would have on my life and how overnight it transformed my life. And I am always so grateful to Jack for that weekend, because since then my life has just been fantastic. I don't even think about alcohol anymore. I've got a job working in the addiction centre where I was a client for 15 years. I have peace of mind. I never think about alcohol. And it all started for me 4.5 years ago, but it was the impact that Jack had on me. I remember leaving his training and I couldn't even speak. I walked out and got the bus home, and I was just in awe at the world because I was seeing it through different eyes. And, I just felt this total peace come over me that I was okay. And I'd never had that my whole life because
Wow.
I'd always believed I was broken. Um, and everything just lifted, and I was just excited about life, really. Oh my God, it starts here. Um, so yeah, so I couldn't miss the training this year.
Oh, that's such a lovely story. And, I hear stories like that time and time again. They go to one of these kind of events. I remember Claire Parsons saying she walked into Viva, she'd been there 10 minutes and she was like, oh my goodness, what's going on
Yeah,
here? There's something in here. I've never felt like this before. Isn't that incredible? I mean, she's now working, she's always a volunteer at Viva, and she's now sharing this, and she's doing the iHeart training, and she's, you know, incredible that it's just kind of from somebody being at a weekend. For me, I was at an hour's talk, right? From Jack
mm,
Pansky, and suddenly
mm,
it's like, right, so these are the things we talk about, people sort of hearing something or having these like life-changing, transformational, and it's true, I can talk from my own, and lovely hearing that, that happened to you. And so you had sort of met, I know that hadn't you met Jacqueline Hollows before then, hadn't you?
yeah. She was my life coach before, and it was her that introduced me to Jack and asked me on that training. Yeah.
Great, great. And so what are you up to now, Sally? You're working back in the addiction centre that you used to be a client of.
Yeah, I work at Solihull Integrated Addiction Services, which is a big company in the Midlands, and I'm a support worker there. So I work with clients in addiction from drugs, alcohol, and gambling. I'm lucky enough to be able to teach the principals once a week in my own little way, which has been having a huge effect. So it's absolutely wonderful. I have to pinch myself every day because they knew me from old. They'd known me for 15 years as a serial relapsing alcoholic. And to see I think it's great for the staff too to see the transformation. But I am so grateful to SIAS because they took me on as a volunteer, and I volunteered for a year, and then they employed me. And my contract came to the end just before Christmas. I was running the drop-in centre there, and they said, just wait, something's coming. So they actually moved me then into an office where I was doing the first triages and assessments. And they said, a job's coming and hopefully, you will get it, which I did. So now I have a permanent contract in Solihull, working alongside the people that used to counsel me, which is so weird, and all the doctors and nurses and
Wow.
hospital staff that used to carry me through the doors and that sort of thing. It's just amazing. It's a miracle to me every day.
Oh, and that's the thing about recovery, when people do, it's available to everybody, right? I love the title of this that you gave is We Can Recover.
Yeah. And the huge thing for me, which I say to my clients, is we're only ever one thought away from well-being. I was always told I was mentally ill, I was broken, I'd never be fixed, and all of that. We're always only one thought away from wellness.
Yeah.
And we had Mental Health Awareness Day last week, and it was specifically about suicide. And this is what I say to people about suicide. You're one thought away of not taking your own life. It's just so powerful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that is for you to say it like that. We're ever only one thought away from making what sounds like crazy thought to lots of people, or one thought away from coming back into common sense, or coming back into, it seems to be that we're in common sense or we're in nonsense. It's like nonsense down here or common sense up here, and how easy it is for any of us to be, on any step of that spectrum, if you like,
Yeah. I mean, in the madness of addiction, I used to try and take my own life, but that was when my thinking was just crazy. And it was 100% absorbed with alcohol and misery. Really, I was just barely existing in the end, and that's the only option I could see. But then always when I took an overdose or something like that, I would then call 999 for an ambulance because something was telling me I wanted to survive. So I was one of the lucky ones that the overdose didn't work, and I just feel blessed that I was saved. So now I throw everything into life. I'm just so grateful for everything tiny that I have now. Just waking up in the morning and having clothes on my back, that's huge. Walking out the door with a smile on my face, my life is just to be perfect because I have freedom and peace of mind for the first time in my life. The last 4 years has just been freedom from anxiety and stress, because I do exactly what the principles tell us, and I live a quiet life and realize when I'm feeling my thinking, it hits me in the face and I think, oh God, what happened there? I felt a bit anxious. Oh, I was just feeling my thinking. And I laugh it off now, because we all have moments of anxiety, but I know a thought will take it away. And just knowing that I am okay. Yeah.
Because you went through the sort of traditional recovery centres and everything, didn't you? I mean, you were in something like, how many? You did like 8 different treatment centres.
I went to 8 very harsh treatment centres, which were all 12 steps, and I actually did 3 90s.
Oh, did you? You did 3 of these 1990 meetings?
Yeah, because it's all I knew, and it's all that a lot of people know. And in fact, I had some people come into, I was doing a display the other week in the library in Solihull, and a couple of people came from AA, and they said, oh, hello, we haven't seen you for ages. And they looked at me with that dreaded look as, oh, are you drinking again? You must be, because you haven't been to AA. And I said, well, I'm 5 years sober, because I found how I work. And I realised that I am not an alcoholic because I don't drink. And this woman looked dumbfounded, and she said, "But I haven't drunk for 15 years." And I said, "Well, how can you be an alcoholic then?" And she just said, "Well, that's another way of looking at it." And she was just, I took her breath away. She said, "I'm going to think about that." And she goes to a meeting 4 times a week and has done for 15 years. But I'm not an alcoholic and I'm not broken because I have a fresh start every second. And it never occurs to me to have a drink now because I don't need fixing.
Mm. Sally, I mean, I think that you're probably like it doesn't matter what gets someone well, does it? You know, if somebody is happy and happily in recovery and they haven't drunk and they go to AA and they call themselves an alcoholic, like that's great too, you know.
Of course.
You know, it's like it's wonderful. It doesn't matter that somebody has to what we've come across, but when you've come across something for you, that's it, and that it's so clear and obvious to you.
Yeah, and AA kept me sober for many years and gave me the spiritual side before even the principles.
Mm.
So, I still prayed then to my God, and I still thank the universe now, which is my God,
Yeah, yeah,
for every day I have.
yeah.
So, yeah, no, AA keeps millions of people sober.
And I think there is that finding the similarities, isn't there? Like rather than, for me anyway, when people say to me, "Well, do you think I should do this?" I say, "I think you should stay open, and I think you should just give
Yeah,
everything a go, work it out for yourself." You know.
it, yeah, I still, after learning the principles, I still went to AA for a year because I was frightened to let go. And I had to come to my own decision. No one ever said to me, "Well, stop going to AA because you're not an alcoholic." And it just suddenly came to me in one meeting. I thought, oh my gosh, this is going against what I know to be true now for me.
Mm.
And that opened up these new doors.
Because
But
you never really enjoyed the meetings, did you?
no, that's the only time I wanted to drink was when I went to a meeting, because as soon as I called myself an alcoholic, I put myself in that state of mind. And talking about my drinking history didn't help me. But now I talk about my mental wellness and my sobriety, and that's what I have now.
Mm. It's an incredible story, and I think for you to see, I think for you to see, only you know, because we all met you as Sally, who you are today, but only you or people that would have known you and seen you in, I'm sure, the states that we get ourselves into, you know, or like anybody in any addiction when they do something that doesn't serve them well. For people to see it is like a miracle, and miracles do happen. That's available to everybody.
Oh, absolutely. And the first time I came to Spain, I think I was only 6 months sober, and I was so anxious about coming because I hadn't flown for 20 years because of my addiction. I hadn't been abroad, obviously, for 20 years because of my addiction. And I was flying alone to people that I'd never met before, to this crazy lot that were doing something called the Three Principles, who might all drink lots of alcohol. And I was filled with fear. But Jack reassured me that I would be okay. And I just knew, I just had this feeling that he was, he was there for me and I would be okay. And, as it happened, by living it, I just lived it minute by minute and took everything as it came. And I can remember doing a deep listening exercise in the bar with a lady called Suzanne. And she asked me how I was feeling, and I said, well, actually, I'm feeling a little bit anxious at the moment. And she didn't ask me what I was feeling anxious about, but we were sitting in the bar, and I was looking at the bar, and it was giving me some sort of fear that if somebody went up and bought a drink, what would I do? And I was fixating on the bar. And she said, well, just sit and think about that for a minute. So I looked at the bar and I went quiet, and I thought, it actually doesn't matter. That's a piece of furniture that sells alcohol. And it actually doesn't matter where it is in the world, because it doesn't affect me anymore. And I just had this absolute rush of, I don't know what, peace and excitement, and because it like opened up the whole world to me. I can go anywhere in any situation and be okay. Um, and that was another huge insight for me. I still keep myself safe. I wouldn't go to wild raves or, things like that.
Your raving
But I
days
think,
are over. I actually remember us being in Albia at the hotel where you're talking about. You have to go through the bar to get to the training room, don't you? It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
which you don't think about if you don't have an issue with,
exactly.
or a history or whatever. You just. But I remember then. I remember one evening you being there, and you must have said, "Anyone want a drink?" And somebody probably, ordered a glass of wine. I remember you saying, you came back from the bar, and you're like, "That's the first drink I've ordered since I've been in recovery."
Yeah, and carried it back
Yeah, yeah.
without running off with it and finishing it.
Without having a sneaky little. So I want to thank you, Sally, for all the joy and all the laughter and all the good times, and being an ear for me when I first joined recovery. You were so helpful for me, both you and Jacqueline, actually, when I was going for that, going to try and promote this in the recovery centre, and I didn't know anything about recovery centres. You were super helpful for me, and I really appreciated it then, and I still appreciate it now.
Well, thank you for involving me then too, and inviting me to the treatment centre and to the lovely Javier.
Yeah, so it's all good stuff. We're all still just doing our little bit in whatever way we can, and we can recover. That's the message.
We certainly can.
You can recover. So I look forward to seeing you here in Spain soon. It's lovely. The weather, sun's still shining. So
Me too. Can't
yeah,
wait.
I was in the sea yesterday. Me and
Oh no.
it was lovely. Yeah. So we'll see you soon. We'll have fun at Viva, that's for sure. And
Yeah, well, I'll be bringing Terry the turtle because Sheila's got him.
what's that then?
My inflatable turtle.
Are you addicted to turtles now?
Yeah, taking him in the sea. He goes everywhere with me. Haven't you seen him at the Albert Player hanging over the balcony?
No, like a ring.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny! I mean, you take him in. That's. Can you swim?
In the sea. Yeah.
Okay, it's just your
Yeah.
little. Your little.
That's how crazy I am now, because I've got my life back and my childhood back.
That's where you're at, turtling.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're safe. Hey, you.
Yeah.
I might bring mine. I've got a couple of things in the garden.
I will bring it then.
Lots
I
of
look
love.
forward to seeing you.
You too. It's always a pleasure, Sally. Lots of love.
All right.
Sweetheart. Good night, everybody, or good day, or wherever you are listening, morning, afternoon. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.